I'm sitting here with you, Lauand Omar, a Syrian filmmaker who's made such daring and important films. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. You live between Germany and Mexico,
Yeah.
right? And I just want to jump right into the highlight, which I can't wait to hear about. Your latest film, Melanina. Tell me about it.
Melanina. First of all, thank you to AfroCannes, Yanibis consultants to be here, to be invited. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you
Yes.
for this talk. Zoe, Melanina is still, it's not finished yet. It's in the first stages. It's in development. It's my new project. Yes. I can't talk too much about it right now, but I can tell you it's a supernatural take on oppression, on
Okay.
racism, on white supremacy.
Okay.
So obviously AfroCannes is a good place, I believe, to find the right people, hopefully producers, to join me with this project, Melanina.
Okay. Well, I mean, offline, I'm quite happy to hear what you are working on, because it sounds like Melanina, just the title itself, is something. So you're here looking, to speak to producers and all of that. I've noticed that with your biography, you've made like really important films, 2 major features, and there's been like a big gap between each one. Like, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, the gap, of course, I mean, it doesn't sound good, right? To have a huge gap. But after my first feature film, I was really young when I made my first movie, which was a women's rights drama in Iraq. I was like 20, 21. So this was my first experience, and I went on to do television. I was producing in Dubai, then I went to Morocco I did a TV series in Morocco. So between the future movies, there's been other things going on. After my latest future film, Curse of Mesopotamia, which was a horror movie, I took a break. Yes,
which is like, necessary.
Sometimes you need it, right?
Yeah.
It was like my dream project, and then things didn't go the way I wanted, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to be in this business anymore. And a few years later, you're like, I want to do something new. So that's why the gap between.
I think you pointed out something really important, which a lot of people are talking about now as filmmakers. We don't get rest, between projects. It's like back to back to back to back, especially as independent filmmakers. So I think it's really important that we do highlight that you're allowed to take a break. You're allowed to like just step away for a minute and, give yourself some time.
And also that the most important movie is our own life, no?
That is I love that.
You have to live your life and create things in your own life. So it's not always at the camera.
Exactly.
But, and like you said, independent filmmaking can be very, very challenging, very hard. So sometimes you're exhausted, you need a break. So it's okay.
I love that. So the most important movie you're ever making is your own life.
Yeah.
I'm stealing that.
Okay, take it.
But another thing I wanted to just chat about is you've kind of lived and worked in so many different spaces. You're from Syria, but you live between Germany and Mexico, like very exotic sounding. Like how's that affected you in your filmmaking and what you are bringing to the world? You said you started when you were 20, 21.
Yes.
You've done so much. You've lived so much.
Well, I think traveling in general opens your eyes, but living in different places with different cultures, different societies, different people, I think I would love to believe that it helped me as a storyteller, because I don't have just this one view, I can relate to this person, there's not so much prejudice, which is important, I think, especially in the times we're living in. Some people use the movie business, the movie industry, for the advance, right? They want to push their agenda, or they just want to push their propaganda and marginalize people with the stories they tell. So it's really important, I think, to have diverse characters in your stories. Me as a writer, I always make sure I represent different type of views, different type of ways of life. And that's what I aim for as a writer. And I think traveling and living in North Africa, living in the Middle East, in Europe, in Latin America helped me in that way to have more like a global perspective.
I really like that, because with filmmaking, it's all about someone being able to identify with the character. You can find someone who lives in a world that's completely different to yours, but if you get the essence of who that person is, like, audiences just connect immediately, so you're able to paint that world of story in different spaces, but get to the heart of the character, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And my final question to you is, you've done a lot of, like you said, like your first film was like, women's rights, you've done a lot of like daring stuff, which is like first, which is very like pushing the boundaries. Now, if you had one last film that you could make, one last film, what would it be?
Okay, that's a difficult one. Right now, if you ask me for one last, I would probably do maybe about a child in Gaza or a family. Like, this is really on my mind right now, and it's very important. Maybe tell a story about someone who's not as privileged and not free. I would probably do that. I would probably do something about a Palestinian family or something. If it was my last movie. Yes, I would do that.
Yeah, well, fantastic. I mean, I'm sure you're going to make it anyway.
We will.
And so, yeah, it's been really great chatting to you, Lauand.
Thank you,
and
Zoe.
Meeting you. And I think like Cannes is not ready for you.
We're here.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much to AfroCannes and Deadline. And yeah, that's a wrap from us. Thanks so much, Lauand.
Thank you, Zoe.